Слава ДВ! Пошел, боком.
The Ukrainian partisan movement Atesh reports a critical situation among Russian troops stationed on Nestiha and Bugaz Islands in the Dnipro River Delta near Kherson. According to agents embedded in Russia's 61st Separate Marine Brigade, commanders are deliberately withholding troop rotations. Some soldiers have remained in position since January 2025. The brigade's command is intentionally not rotating certain servicemen. Some have been stuck on these islands for several months, Atesh agents report. The troops are on the brink of total logistical collapse. Supplies are sporadically delivered by drones but are critically insufficient. Wounded soldiers are evacuated using inflatable boats. Proper medical care is virtually non-existent, as there are no medicines available, according to reports from embedded agents. Due to constant dampness and unsanitary conditions, fungal infections, festering sores, and skin diseases are spreading among the troops. Some are reportedly suffering from frostbite, despite the spring weather. The morale of the soldiers is critical. They are literally rotting on these islands, both physically and mentally, Atesh added. They close their statement with dark humor. Don't want a one-way ticket to the islands? Message us. We'll tell you how to avoid it. The Dnipro Delta remains one of the hottest front lines in the war. Following Ukraine's counteroffensive in 2023, the area turned into a swampy trap, especially for Russian forces, who, according to analysts, continue to suffer from severe logistical and personnel management problems. Since the liberation of the right bank part of Kherson region in 2022, these territories have become a gray zone, where intense clashes continue between Ukrainian and Russian forces. Russian troops have been trying to fortify positions on islands like Nestiha, Bugaz, Milky, Kozatsky, and Veliki Potemkin Island to control the Dnipro River and apply pressure on Ukrainian positions. Russians have started large-scale attacks towards Shevchenko, south of Pokrovsk. Ukrainian artillery and FPV drones destroy Russian vehicles and infantry. Fighting also continues near Volny Pol, Vesele, and Bohatyr. As Warthog Defense reported, since March, during the battles for the village of Shevchenko near Pokrovsk, the enemy has lost more than 1,100 infantrymen killed and wounded. The capture of the village of Shevchenko allowed the enemy to get closer to Pokrovsk. To prevent a further offensive, Ukrainian forces launched an assault on the village on March 3rd. At that time, according to intelligence, there were up to 300 invaders in Shevchenko. The clearing of Shevchenko lasted 6 days. The fiercest battles were fought for the two-story buildings, the school, and the Palace of Culture, where the enemy set up the main defense points. On March 9th, the main part of the settlement was liberated, and reinforcement groups were brought in. Since then, the enemy's counterattacks have been ongoing for over a month. Spectacular detonation of a Russian T-80BV-M tank after a direct hit by an FPV drone from the 414th Strike UAV Brigade Magyar's Birds. Jaga jaga, bada boom. As of early 2025, estimates suggest that over 1,000 Russian T-80 tanks have been destroyed, damaged, abandoned, or captured in Ukraine. This is what the Russian airborne troops, once the absolute elite, look like after 3 years of war. My goodness. What a misery. Russian airborne troops, known as the VDV, have suffered heavy casualties in Ukraine. Thousands of elite paratroopers have been killed, wounded, or captured since the 2022 invasion. The VDV, originally designed for rapid assaults, faced tough resistance, especially in battles like Hostomel and Bakhmut. Their losses have significantly weakened Russia's ability to conduct large-scale airborne operations, forcing many VDV units to fight more like regular infantry, far from their intended role. European military assistance to Ukraine is accelerating and focusing particularly on lower-tech weaponry proved in close-in combat against the Russian army, and manufacturing in Ukraine if possible. British Defense Secretary John Healey in Thursday comments to media said the idea behind the assistance was to make Ukraine's combat brigades and frontline formations more lethal in the close fight. Today's major package will surge support to Ukraine's frontline fight, Healy said. Our job as defense ministers is to put into the hands of the Ukrainian warfighters what they need. Healy said the United Kingdom, along with Norway, would allocate a total $580 million towards sending Ukraine hundreds of thousands of drones, anti-tank mines, and funding of combat vehicles inside Ukraine. The UK will contribute the equivalent to $456 million to the aid package, and Norway the remainder to an arms and military support program run by Britain called the International Fund for Ukraine, and the lion's share of the assistance, worth $326 million, will fund the delivery to Ukraine of hundreds of thousands of drones, anti-tank mines, and radar systems, Healy said. The armed forces of Ukraine since Russia's February 2022 invasion of Ukraine have turned cheap observation and attack drones, once considered almost toys by most military professionals, into the dominant weapon system of the Russo-Ukraine war. Ukrainian armed forces statisticians report about 3 out of every 4 Russian soldiers killed or wounded or combat vehicle damaged or destroyed is the result of a Ukrainian drone strike. Ukrainian frontline units fighting mostly on the defense have honed tactics of waiting until an attacking Russian armored column stalls in a minefield, and then swarming stop tanks and infantry fighting vehicles with drone swarms. Surviving infantry are hunted down by first-person view drones and by mortar strikes. Estonia has detained a Russian Shadow Fleet tanker in the Baltic Sea for the first time. Kiwala vessel was headed to Russian Ust-Luga port. Marine Traffic notes that Kiwala, designed to transport crude oil, sails under the flag of Djibouti. However, a Djibouti spokesperson said the ship was not on their register. Estonian authorities used their rights to perform an inspection. They reported that the tanker is under sanctions. Putin's aide Patrushev commented on Estonia's intention to sink ships in the Baltic Sea suspected of intending to damage undersea cables. Well, it's disgusting. We must think about how to counteract it. Estonia itself can't realize it, so someone is behind it. We need to understand and get more information on how to counteract it. This is a law that is currently being developed in Estonia for extreme cases. If the vessel refuses to comply with orders and a number of other conditions, including a threat to many lives, etc. The bill has not been passed by Parliament of Estonia as of now.
Отвратительно. Надо думать, как противодействовать этому делу. Сама Эстония не может реализовать, значит, за ним кто-то стоит. Надо понять, получить более подробную информацию, как противодействовать.
Каким вариантом?
Я же вам сказал, надо обсудить.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.